Rome, the greatest city on earth, a metropolis of marble temples and nearly 1 million people living beneath the power of the Roman Empire. It had survived invasions, civil wars, and assassinations. But in the summer of 64 AD, Rome faced an enemy unlike any before: fire. For 6 terrifying days and 7 endless nights, flames devoured entire districts. Thousands died, and hundreds of thousands lost everything they owned. Almost immediately, one name became forever linked to the catastrophe: Nero. For nearly 2,000 years, he has been remembered as the emperor who watched Rome burn, playing music while his capital was consumed by flames. It is one of history's most famous stories. There's just one problem. It probably never happened. So who was Nero? A monster? A misunderstood ruler? Or the greatest victim of political propaganda in Roman history? This is the rise and fall of Rome's most infamous emperor. Long before he became emperor, Nero was simply a boy named Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, born in 37 AD into one of Rome's oldest noble families. His father was a wealthy, violent, and deeply unpopular man. According to ancient writers, even his own father predicted that his son would become a curse to mankind. When Nero was only 2 years old, his father died, leaving his mother, Agrippina the Younger, to navigate the deadliest political environment in history. Agrippina wasn't just ambitious, she was brilliant. She was the sister of Emperor Caligula, the niece of Emperor Tiberius, and the great-granddaughter of Emperor Augustus himself. Power ran through her blood, and she intended to keep it there. Years later, Agrippina achieved the unimaginable. She married the new emperor, who happened to be her own uncle, Claudius. While this seems shocking today, to Rome's elite, it was simply politics. Claudius already had a biological son, an obvious heir named Britannicus, but Agrippina carefully convinced the emperor to adopt young Nero instead. Everything was being prepared not just for a prince, but for an emperor. Nero's education was handed over to the empire's greatest philosophers, including the famous Stoic thinker, Seneca. Then, in 54 AD, Claudius suddenly died. Officially, it was an illness. Unofficially, rumors spread of poisoned mushrooms, with many blaming Agrippina herself. The truth remains a mystery, but the result was undeniable. Within hours, 16-year-old Nero became the ruler of the largest empire on earth. Rome expected a disaster from a child emperor. Instead, his first years were remarkably successful. Guided by his tutor Seneca and the commander of the Praetorian Guard, Burrus, Nero lowered taxes, reduced corruption, and banned secret treason trials. He even gave greater independence to the Senate. Trade flourished, the treasury was healthy, and even historians who later despised Nero admitted his early reign was unexpectedly good. But absolute power has a way of changing people, especially when someone else believes they are the one truly in charge. When Nero took the throne, many believed his mother Agrippina was truly in control. She had spent years maneuvering to crown him, and now she expected authority, attending official meetings and involving herself in imperial decisions. Without Agrippina, there would be no Emperor Nero. But as Nero entered his 20s, he wanted to command alone. The first major crack appeared when Nero fell in love with a woman named Acte, who had once been enslaved. Agrippina despised the relationship, wanting Nero to marry strategically for politics. Their disagreements became public and dangerous. Ancient writers claim Agrippina threatened to support Claudius's biological son, Britannicus, as the rightful ruler of Rome. Nero perceived this threat as a matter of life and death. Then, during a banquet in 55 AD, Britannicus suddenly collapsed and died. Many ancient historians believe poison had been slipped into his drink, and while the evidence is circumstantial, the last serious rival to Nero's throne, was conveniently gone. Now only his mother remained capable of challenging him. According to the historian Tacitus, Nero decided there was only one permanent solution. His mother had to die. But executing such a highly respected royal figure outright would be political suicide. So Nero allegedly ordered engineers to secretly modify a luxurious ship so its roof would collapse and the vessel would sink. Agrippina accepted an invitation to sail. The mechanism failed, the ship took on water, and passengers drowned. But incredibly, Agrippina managed to swim safely to shore. The failed assassination made everything worse. Agrippina now knew her son wanted her dead. Panicking, Nero abandoned the secret plots and sent armed soldiers directly to her villa. In a legendary final moment of defiance, as the assassins approached, Agrippina reportedly pointed to her womb and declared, "Strike here first," the place that had given birth to Nero. Agrippina was killed, and with her death, something inside Nero seemed to change forever. The emperor who once governed with restraint became increasingly isolated, suspicious, and obsessed with his own image. He spent less time listening to his advisors and more time organizing lavish spectacles and performing music. To modernize an emperor singing or acting seems harmless. But in ancient Rome, public performance was considered the work of people of low social status. An emperor singing on stage was humiliating to the Roman aristocracy. Yet Nero didn't care. He loved applause more than politics. His trusted advisor Seneca stepped back, Burrus died, and a new ambitious woman entered his life, Poppaea Sabina. She quickly became his closest confidant. To make way for Poppaea, Nero divorced his wife Octavia, the daughter of Emperor Claudius. The Roman people adored Octavia as she represented stability and the old imperial family. Her removal shocked the city. She was banished, accused of adultery, and eventually executed. Public sympathy for Octavia grew, and for the first time the people of Rome began asking a dangerous question. Had their young emperor changed, or had they simply never known who he truly was? They would soon get their answer. July 64 AD. Somewhere among the crowded wooden shops near the Circus Maximus, a fire broke out in the dead of night. Rome was a tinderbox of timber apartments, narrow streets, and open kitchens. When the wind changed, the flames raced through entire neighborhoods. The fire burned for 6 terrifying days. Just when citizens thought it was over, a second wave of fire erupted, destroying even more of the city. When the smoke cleared, 3 of Rome's 14 districts were completely destroyed, and 7 more suffered severe damage. Generations of history vanished in less than 2 weeks. So where was Nero? For centuries, popular culture claimed he stood calmly above the city, playing the fiddle. But the violin didn't even exist for another 1,000 years. And ancient sources report Nero was 60 kilometers away at his villa in Antium when the fire began. When news reached him, he hurried back to Rome, opened imperial gardens and public buildings to refugees, and reduced grain prices to prevent mass starvation. So why was he blamed? Because of what he built on the ashes. After the fire, Nero claimed the ruined land to build the Domus Aurea, the Golden House. It was an enormous imperial complex with marble halls, golden ceilings, and a colossal bronze statue of himself towering over the entrance. To ordinary Romans, the symbolism was impossible to ignore. Their homes had disappeared, and the emperor was building paradise. Rumors exploded that Nero had ordered the fire to clear land for his mega palace. Facing an explosive political crisis, Nero desperately needed someone to blame. He pointed his finger at a small, misunderstood religious sect living in Rome, the Christians. The consequences were horrific. Mass arrests followed. Innocent Christians were thrown to wild animals or crucified in brutal public spectacles. According to Tacitus, the cruelty was so extreme that many Romans eventually pitied the victims, realizing they were only dying because one man needed a scapegoat. These executions permanently link Nero's name with unimaginable cruelty. Nero had survived the fire, but his magnificent golden house consumed staggering amounts of wealth. To fund his projects, Nero increased taxes, confiscated estates from wealthy families, and even reduced the silver content in the Roman coinage. Confidence in the emperor eroded. In 65 AD, a massive plot to assassinate Nero and install a new emperor was uncovered, known as the Pisonian conspiracy. Nero's response was merciless. Dozens of senators and officers were executed. The emperor even ordered his old mentor, the great philosopher Seneca, to take his own life. Seneca accepted his fate, and with his death, any remaining restraint on Nero vanished. But the final blow wouldn't come from politicians in Rome. It came from men with armies. In the spring of 68 AD, a governor in modern-day France named Julius Vindex openly rebelled. Though Vindex was defeated, it shattered the illusion of Nero's invincibility. Soon, an elderly, respected governor in Hispania named Servius Sulpicius Galba declared his support for the rebellion. Then came the most devastating betrayal of all. The Praetorian Guard, the elite force sworn to protect the emperor, was promised generous financial rewards by their commander if they abandoned Nero for Galba. Money spoke louder than loyalty, and the emperor's protectors walked away. When Nero learned the news, panic spread through the palace. Friends stopped answering summons. Servants fled. According to ancient historians, the most powerful man in the world wandered through his massive palace, calling for his advisors, but the corridors echoed with complete silence. The Roman Senate officially declared Nero a public enemy. It was a death sentence. Nero fled the city under the cover of darkness to a modest villa outside the capital. Throughout the night, he paced the room, weeping, terrified of the humiliating public execution that awaited him. As the sound of enemy horsemen drew closer outside, Nero finally prepared to take his own life, though his courage failed him, and a companion had to help guide the blade. At just 30 years old, the last emperor of the Julio-Claudian dynasty was dead. His legendary final words, "Qualis artifex pereo," what an artist dies in me. Even at the edge of death, Nero did not lament the loss of an empire. He mourned the loss of his audience.